Ekejike, Ekejike, Bigo Kamshike, Abu Mekejike, Monishu. Welcome everyone. Shimoge back again. Another anger segment. What am I doing here? I'm just going to outline further my next batch of video releases. Yes. The title, this is Ekejike. What does that mean? Eke. It's a controversial word and or words in my language. And again, quick greeting. Most of you know me. Well, let me not assume that. A lot of you will know me. Thank you very much. For those of you who don't know me, given name Shimoge. Government name Shimoge Shichuke Ibe. Alternate white structure name Shimoge Shichuke Ibe Ngoko. Ibe is a shortened form of Ibe Ngoko. Tufieko. Hapuwe Shu Ngoko. Arali Hele. Ha! Ekejike. Matrilineage Village, Eben Mohafia. Patrilineal Village Reference Point, Auji Urata. Birthplace, Kelu, commonly called Southeast Washington, D.C., the particular spot I was born, in the so-called United States of America. Current place of residence, Atlanta, Georgia. Proper name, Oshimmery. Ekejike, 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 Biko Kamshi, Abu Mekejike, Moneki, Abu Mekejike, Abu Mekejike, Moneki, Monike, Ekejike, 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 Biko Kamshi, anyway, Eke, E-K-E, controversial word. In Cabernet calling my ancestors, controversial word and or words in my language, which is, well, and here was the problem. How do you refer to my language? What is it? Let's talk about the reference point for my language, the so-called Igbo language. What is Igbo language? I would argue it's a segment of my language, but it's said to be a Niger-Congo language spoken in southeastern Nigeria. Just speaking quickly here, using unnatural demarcations. Again, welcome, welcome. It's morning where I am, but the sun is not yet risen. Anyway, I don't follow a 9 to 5 schedule. I just go anyway. But I also sleep. I want to emphasize I sleep. Okay, I'm not literally awake around the clock. It's just I'm often awake at night. Then I'll sleep during the day or I'll sleep during a different part of the night. What is night? When does night begin? Does it begin at 6 p.m. when the sun is a little less bright than before? Does it begin at midnight? I mean, we're vague anyway. It's upsetting. Anyway, so what am I saying? Eke, Igbo language, Niger-Congo language, spoken in southeastern Nigeria. The language, I would argue, rose from the ashes of one segment and or segments of the broken black race. Why am I saying that? One, there is no unity. How can you say a language is proper when there is no centrality? No central Igbo does not count as centrality. Some academics coming together and creating a fictional language out of reference point words is not centralizing the language. There must be many criteria. Okay, Central Igbo is a form of Arala Oku, abomination speech. I'm not saying you can't look at that and learn some words, but that is not a language. It's not a proper language anyway. It's like English. Tufiakwa. Anyway, there is no natural unity. There are many different so-called dialects of Igbo. They're said to be mutually intelligible. I don't always know about that because I always hear the excuse, I don't understand that, that's not my dialect. And this brings me to the next point. The language and or language corner is in disarray because there's an epidemic of rude people. And that's the most polite way for me to say it. The rudeness takes two forms. One, people are rude to outsiders. As in, say you've come to their village for the first time, and that's the stereotype of how we think of interaction. But let's be real, a lot of these interactions are happening in Lagos, they're happening in New York, they're happening even in Atlanta. Okay, because there's a lot of diasporism. But anyway, Someone new comes to your village, you turn up your nose, you don't give them the good jollof rice or whatever, because that's what you people be eating. And then you say, I don't understand that, it's not my dialect. That's one. Rudeness two. People are rude to their youngers. You born a child, you raise the child, and when the child is trying to speak, you didn't say that right one. Ekejike, Ekejike, Ekejike. Anyway, what's my point in bringing out this? There is a lot of disagreement, often not properly acknowledged, about how to say things and the nature of things. The biggest disagreement is on the matter of tone marking. It is often said that Igbo language is a tonal language. I think that is a proverb that most people do not understand. What is a tonal language? What is a tonal language? I would argue that a tonal language is a broken corner of speech. Language is spoken with a goal. As part of that goal, people must be understood. It is not useful for understanding to have all these different tones, especially because when people begin arguing about tones, they already know what the person meant. They're just delaying speech to be rude. I always use the example of aqua, A-K-W-A. That is a similar set of words to Eke, which I'm getting to, why I'm trying to explain the title of this. Aqua. It means brokenness, shreddedness. The phenomenon we refer to as shards can be called aqua. Manifests on many levels. That which we call the egg, also bed sheets, also piercing, excessive crying, which doesn't necessarily mean the person's bad, but if someone's doing that, if hanabakwa, a lot's going on. What's the point? There's shreddedness, there's shards there. But people argue about the tones. But I say that's nonsense. If someone's cooking in the kitchen and says, Biko, netu makwa, why would you go to the bedroom and get some bed sheets? Is your brain on? Anyway, Eke, similar issue. Eke, it can mean slice. Otu eke ihe. It could mean that animal we refer to as the python or the boa constrictor. Boa constrictor. It can also mean heat, and it can also refer to the Eke market day. Eke, ori afo and kwal. That's the common understanding, and it said there's different tones. I don't know them all. It's all part of the same thing. You know me, I'm a metaphysicist. Eke is one of the 49 things that undergirds existence. He manifests as all those various things. That animal you call the python, which is in every one of its forms, every single category of life, because there are many Ekejike, because Eke can also be category. As that animal you call the boa constrictor, the python. Every one of them is an anumanu Allah. Let me say it. Nurafo. Every one of them is a land animal. Every one of them is one of the police. Yes. Those animals, those sacred animals, those animals that no other Anumanu Eke, because we have Anumanu Eke, Anumanu Ore, Anumanu Afo, and Anumanu Nkwa. We have animals for each one of those Opruihe. We are Anumanu Eke. Okay, you should know Anumanu Eke, although sometimes Anumanu Nkwa can look like Anumanu Eke. For example, our category of life, which most people call human beings, Anumanu Eke. Lions, Anumanu Eke. Squirrels, Anumanu Eke. You get what I'm saying? I'm just using the common names. So that kind of animal is an Anumanu Eke. But so are things like frogs, Kalaka, lizards, Ngwe, Akamadio, Igwe, those kind of things. Any animal that when you're dealing with it, you feel a lot of heat, because Eke is heat. Okay. But there are Anumanu Nkwa who can mirror them. Classic example, the wolf. That is actually an Anumanu Nkwa, an animal of the wind. Another example of the Anumanu Nkwa, the hawk. That is actually just Nkwa. That is the animal of the whole thing. And then let me give one more that shows the idea a bit more, although it's kind of hard. House centipedes. Look them up and run away. Those are Anumanu Nkwa. In my childhood home, from the time I was about 11, there were a lot of house centipedes there. My bathroom was down there. I frequently had to engage in battle with house centipedes just to shower and use the bathroom. Those animals are a manifestation of Satan. Yes. Anyway, Animanum Qual. Many are cool, but many are also ugly. Anyway, Animanu Eke, different. Although you have some bad Animanu Eke, like Ella and Arala. Nkita, Arala, same thing, the dog. That's an Animanu Eke. Why? Well, there's certain animals, if you T and Qual, okay, maybe yeah, it's complicated. If you put it in the wind, imagine if there's all this evil in the wind. It'll get in your face. And if there's nonsense in the wind, Ella's in the wind, there's too much. Anyway, what am I getting at here? Eke is heat. Why is it all those things? That animal you call the python. The market day eke. Heat. And then what was the other one? Oh, also stuff like a ladder, a rope. Why? Look at the base verb. Cake, cut, slice. How do you slice something? You exert heat on it into a very exact point until it divides. Egg. According to prayer, in my language, the word e by itself means extended. Eke, extended cut. The extended cut, heat. If you extend the cut, there's heat everywhere. Yes. In order to create a category, there's been an extended cut. You see, Eke is very complicated, but it's very simple. You see the connections. For there to be a rope. And look at that animal you call the boa constrictor the python. It constricts its prey and uses heat in order to perish them so they can consume them. And they're also known to be able to sense heat. Eke hurongweanya. Heat admires himself. Heat seeks himself. Yes. Anyway, what am I getting at here? I put up the phrase Ekejike. What is your Ekej? That is your gene pool. Genes, the stuff that holds you in this world. I'm talking about biology. I'm talking about your family. And I want to be clear. In order for someone to be your family, they either have to be A, your spouse. And again, that's a different type of family, okay? Your spouse cannot start out as your family. Okay, this is not biblical times. Anyway, your spouse cannot start out as your family. Tufieko. And then, so there's that, but still, once the marriage is there, that's your family. And then two, they have to be part of your gene pool. There's this trend of saying everyone you like is your family. Hey, they're like my family now. Just give them another label. Just say it. Your family's bad, move on. But I want to say this. If you're not comfortable with someone in your gene pool and they've committed an act of evil against you, past a certain point, they're not your family. They're just a gene pool member. They're just Onyekeji. But in this world, we shouldn't be talking about that, but the world is broken. Anyway, what's the point I'm making? You have your gene pool. Those are the people you're related to. And again, these things are hard to talk about, but sometimes when talking about the wider lineage, I also say those are relatives, your blood relatives. But in the most close sense, your relatives are the people in your gene pool. These are the people who, to be crude with, you cannot have a romantic relationship with. But that's really the point. It is your no romance zone. And it's a no romance zone for a reason. It is there so that you have people who have a fixed obligation to you. Okay. I'm just going to say this. When you're in a romantic relationship with someone, you have and they have mutually a fixed obligation to each other. And that obligation is to keep each other alive. That is the family aspect of romantic relationships. There are different kinds. The deeper they are, the more family they are. Husband, wife, spouse, obviously those are family. Some of the more close ones, obviously family. I'm still learning about all the different types of romantic relationships. There are different ones. Maybe some of the different ones you can't call family, but I don't know. Anyway, what's my point here? You have a fixed obligation to keep each other alive, and I want to emphasize that is the fixed obligation I'm talking about. I'll just say it like that because we have LA who make other overly concrete demands. There should be desire in romantic relationships. If you're trying to replace desire with demand, you're a criminal. Okay, get away. Anyway, now, again, I have to speak on these things because there's so much crime out there. There's criminal thought, criminal speech, and criminal practice. But anyway, so You have that kind of obligation. But because there needs to be freedom for desire and freedom to leave the romantic relationship, when there is no romantic relationship, you see people say before people have begun or after people decide to separate, you don't have that fixed obligation to keep them alive more than the other person. I do want to note though, it is unhealthy to leave a romantic relationship with someone who you have a destiny with and who is treating you well. Okay, those are the two criteria. You have a destiny with them and they're treating you well. So that behavior shouldn't be encouraged. At the same time, that is just the ultimate fail-safe mechanism. So you're not necessarily bad for leaving a romantic relationship. I'm just trying to speak on that very complicated reality here because the world's in chaos. That is what it is. I hope you understand what I mean. Anyway, put that to the side. You're Ekejike. You're no romance zone. Because romance is off the table, you can make the fixed demand. They're your backup. They're kalakana. They're abois. They're your double. Because you can demand everything from them in an emergency situation, no matter what. Okay. The only exception to this is if you've made yourself inaccessible to your Ekejike through your own bad behavior. And I won't go into that too much. But that's basically someone who has cut themselves off from the living. Anyway, what am I saying here? Ekejike is very important. What is Ekejike? Ekejike. That is Kanyihaje Ekejike. Let's strengthen the Ekejike. Let's strengthen the gene pool. Why are you saying this? You can say this both in good times and bad times. In good times, you say it just to sharpen up. The idea is you get rid of any sin in your gene pool. In bad times, you say it because there's a lot of sin in the gene pool. And yes, an evil person in your gene pool is a manifestation of sin. They are sin. You want that sin to not be present. Ideally, that person should reform themselves. Once that person has reformed themselves, they're no longer a manifestation of sin. The sin is gone. If the person refuses to reform themselves, then the forces of justice outside of your own category of life and outside of this world can deal with that. Ekejike. Why am I saying that? Because my Ekejike needs to be K. It needs to be cut up and reformed. Oh my deal. That's the source of my Iwe today. What's the Iru? What is my goal? I'm fine-tuning my energy. I'm fine-tuning my details. I'm getting together my video release structure even more. Okay. Anyway, Ekejike, call shike, Ekejike, call, may it shike. Come from strength, be strong. Ekejike, call shike, Ekejike, call shike. And I also want to say this. My voice is not monotone, but generally speaking, it's lower than most people's. If my voice goes too high, it's been damaged. This tone marking culture we have in Igbo culture, along with the GBKP thing, makes it hard to speak for people with deep voices, I think. That's why frequently when I hear the language spoken, everyone is up there. I have my toes on the ground. So this reform is practical for me, and that's all I'll say. I'm gonna deal with it. Ekejike, 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 Bikekashike, Ekejike, 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 Bikekashike, Abumekejike, Monechu, Abumekejike, Kokikeka, Abu Amadi Oha, Ekejike, 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 Bikekashike, Abumekejike, Bikekashike. I got a paper. I get the paper. I get the cash. I get the paper. I get the cash. I am Ash. I get the cash. Ekejike. 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 Abu mekejike monechua. Abu mekejike kohie hanwa. Ekejike. Wow, I thought I had extra paper. Anyway, let's get the extra paper. Ekejike. Ekejike, Ekejike, Biko Koshike, Ekejike, 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 Biko Koshike, Ekejike, go Kike, Igwe emechapụ ọmadị oha Igwe emechapụ okike ka Igwe n'ime ya Igwe bụ ọmadị oha Igwe anamego igwe abụ igwe ni igwe Igwe nebu igwe abụ igwe bụ igwe amadị oha Igwe amadioha Igwe bụ okike ka Ekejike kọchụ uwe abụ Ekejike kike ka Ekejike bụ amadioha abụ Ekejike nke okike ka Amadioha Ekejike Koshike abum Ekejike biko Koshike Nafana Brahmadioha Nabelu Digwe Chua abum Ekejike Ekejike biko Koshike Ekejike biko Koshike Ekejike biko Koshike abum Ekejike biko Koshike Ekejike biko Koshike abum Ekejike biko Koshike Ekejike biko Koshike abum Ekejike no Kike Ekejike ashes to ashes Ekejike I turn my evil elders to ashes. Ekejike, biko Koshike. Ashes to ashes, Amadioha. Ashes to ashes, Okike. Cremation, Ekejike. Cremation, Ekejike. Cremation, abum cremation, Ekejike. Ekejike biko Koshike, Ekejike biko Koshike, Ekejike biko Koshike. Ekejike biko Koshike, abum Ekejike, abum Medusa, they turned to stone and they turned to ashes of Medusa, abum Anya Amadioha, abum Anya Uno Anketa. Abum Amadioha, Abum Igwe, I am the Igwe, Ekejike, biko Koshike, Ekejike, biko Koshike, Ekejike, biko Koshike, Ekejike, biko Koshike, Ekejike abum Amadioha, Ekejike abum okike ka. Ekejike biko Chua abum Ekejike nkokike ka. Ele emechabu Amadioha, ele emechabu okike ka. Ele emechabu Shango, ele Shangele ka abum Shangele. No one can tell. I've registered viewers, they're all a blessing. Look at my comments, they're a blessing too. He said, God bless you, bro. And just know, obviously, I don't believe God is positive, but I get that this person, I play game 75, thank you very much, is giving me an extended spiritual compliment with that comment. Thank you very much. I can adjust language and get the centrality of the message. Ekejike. Abum Amadioha. Abum Amadioha. Abum Amadioha. Ekejike biko Koshike. Ekejike biko Koshike. Abum Ekejike Kochu. Abum Ekejike na Pikachu na. Abum Pikachu. Peekaboo, abunaya. Pikachu, abunaya. Amadioha, Igweya. Ekejike, biko Koshike. Igwe ya abụ igwe ana m egwu igwe n'ebe abụ igwe nke Amadioha. Ekejike, Ekejike, Ekejike Kanishike, Ekejaburu Kalkaneba. Yes, your bloodline has its own Ekeji. It's just not as strong, but it's powerful. Ekejike. There are many levels of relation. Ekeji. Although I will note, the bloodline one is not a no romance zone. It just, there's different connectivities. I'm still learning about it. The no romance zone is the real EKG. Obviously, you can have relationships with people who are part of your larger bloodline, as in people who are part of what we call your same tribe. Just noting that. But there's different types of relatabilities. Anyway, Ekejike, 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 we go call GK. Ekejike, 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 we go call GK. Ekejike, Ekejike, Abumen Korea, no ya, Abunan Korea, ha ha, Abumen Korea, no basim, Abumen Korea in my endless, I am a man, Dio, I amass wealth, then I share, I amass wealth, then I spread it. I amass wealth, then I spread it. If I'm really good, I don't even touch the cash. Abu Mobua, I am the bank. I am the bank. I am Big Bang. I am a Madio. Ha ha. I am a Madio. I am the tank. I am a Madio. I am the tank. I make you rich. You better thank me. Thank me. Then thank the Ekejike, 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 Koshike, Ekejike, Koshike neba, Ekejike, meche sansoneba, ka, sansoneba, Ekejike, 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 sansoneba, Ekejike, Nuwaya, Ekejike, ha, Ekejike, Nigueya, Ekejike, Ekejike, Nuwaya, Ekejike, Nigueya, Ekejike, ka, Batman, Batgirl, Bicker, Juneba, Makunuba, Abu Makunuba, 1K. Ekejike, Bicker, Koshike, Ekejike, Bicker, Koshike, Abu Mekejike, Koshike, Abu Mekejike, Koshike, Abu Mekejike. Abu Mekejike, Baba Abu Mekejike, Noah Abu Mekejike, Noah Abu Mekejike, Abu Mekejike, Abu Mekejike, Abu Mekejike, Kokike, Abu Mekejike, Nepera. Ekejike, we go call Shike, Abu Mekejike, Ekejike, we go call Shike, Abu Mekejike, Abu Mekejike, Hoa, Abu Mekejike, Baba, Abu Mekejike, Nive, Abu Mekejike, Hoa, Abu Mekejike, Baba, Abu Mekejike, Nive, Abu Mekejike, Baba, Abu Mekejike, Ekejike, Son of Abu Madio, Son of Abu Ekejike, because Ekejike, Ekejike, Miguea, Ekejike, Amadioha, Mamadioha, Unu Dumbu Amadioha, Unu Dumbu Kikeka, Abunda Duna Amadioha. Ekejike, Nko Kike, Kabumekejike. Ha, Ekejike, ha. Venus is all shimmery. I am Amadioha, the hand of heaven. The hand of heaven. The hand of heaven is Amadioha. I am the hand of heaven, O Kike. I am the hand of heaven. Baba, I am the hand of heaven. Pa, boom. Nan kore kaka. Abu nan kore no one keta. Abu nan kore nivea. Abu mamadio anikeya. Ekejike, biko koshike. Abu Ekejike, biko koshike. Abu mekejike. Abu Ekejike, Baba Abu Ekejike, wanna you, Abu Ekejike, cold halalala, halalala, Shangri-La, halalala, Shangri-La, halalala. Ekejike, biko kamshike, Abu Ekejike, biko kamshike, Abu Ekejike, biko kamshike, kamshi kenke ekejike, kamshi kenke ekejika, kamshi kenke epera buamadioha, Abu Mamadioha kaneba, Abu Mamadioha nuwaya. Abu Mamadioha bobe, Ekejike, biko koshike, Ekejike, hoa, Ekejike, hoa, Ekejike, go Kike, Abu Ekejike, Nibeya, Abu Ekejike, Hawaya, Abu Ekejike. Ekejike, biko kamshike, Abu Ekejike, kamikaze, Abu kamikaze, kokike ka. Ekejike, kamkeze, Abu madoka, Abu mamadio, hanko kike, Abu mamadio, igwe meshebu amadio. What's the video? I actually want to remember this. These ones are already up. Let's put up. We up. They're just not published. First it's up, then it must be published. It's up, then it's published. It's up, then it's published. Then I've uploaded it to the YouTube server. I just haven't hit public yet because I need to write the description. That's my method. Yes, there's a method to the madness. Ekejike, biko Ekejike, biko kamshike, Ekejike, biko koshike, Ekejike. Adoka, interesting. The expansion of unification. Ekejike, same thing. Anyway. Right, I've talked about the manosphere. Why do you exist? Ekejike, biko koshike, Ekejike, Ha abumekejike nefoya abumekejike nko amadio abumekejike nko kikeka abumekejike noa abumekejike. Forget, is the next one up? That's something to check anyway. Ekejike, Ekejike. Only making the so yeah. Ekejike, 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 call, Bumekejike, Nkokike, Bumekejike, Nivea. Ekejike, 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 Nikeya, Bumekejike, Nomunike Neba. Abu Omunike, Kalakanu, Abu Momunike, Kalananomana. Kala kanum kanum manum. Ekejike, Ekejike. Ekejike, Ekejike, Ekejike. Oh, abu mekejike, nive, abu mekejike, si se sa. Ekejike, 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 Abumekejike, Kokike, Abumekejike, Kokike, Ekejike, Buamadioha. Ekejike, Ekejike, Abumekejike, Amadioha. I think this is all for now, except then let's note the other ones. This is not typical. Ekejike, 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 Nkokike, Abumekejike, Nuaya, Abumekejike, Wawa, Abumekejike, Kokike, Abumekejike, Nua, Abumekejike, Nivea, Abumekejike, Aburu, Abum Aburu Sirse Bu Onishiaka. Interesting. Ekejike, 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 we can call Shike, Abu Ekejike, 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 Abu Ekejike, 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 Abu Ekejike, Abu Ekejike. Oh, Ekejike, Ekejike, Ekejike. Also, I just want to note something. A lot of the things I've said about people, I'll just say, people today might be seen as rude and offensive to the common people. I'm just going to say this. I'm not a common person. I am the king, Abumigwe. When the common people are bad, they're not supposed to like me. They're supposed to change. And even then, they're not necessarily supposed to like me because I don't always want them up in my face. And then as for understanding, look, I'm not a snob in common parlance, but at the same time, I do believe there's a hierarchy of persons. Okay, I'm not a bigot, but I believe there's a hierarchy of persons. Some people, individuals now, are above others. You know me, Abumonishi Kalakan, I'm at the very top. Of course, that doesn't mean I don't respect anyone else. That doesn't mean that I think I can do everything. That's not it. But I'm just a different breed. So, of course, a lot of people aren't going to understand me. That doesn't mean what I've said is wrong. It just means they're not on my level. Either get up to my level when it's necessary or stay at your level. And don't assume that the common understanding makes sense when it rises up to my level. The world is broken. There's a lot you don't know. And I'll leave it at that. Ekejike, 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 Abum Ekejike, 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 Abum Ekejike, Ekejike, Ekejike. And it goes without saying. I'm just going to be controversial here. Yes, I believe I'm quote unquote better than everyone else in my gene pool and my lineage, but I'm a product of my ancestors. What does that mean? It means you should not be putting me in a competition with my grandmother. Ekejike, 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 Ekejike. And I'm gonna leave it at that. If you really need me to explain why that is ihan, why that's nonsense thing, Ekejike. You're the target of the Ekejike. Target the Ekejike. Uzo Ekejike. Obu Uzo Ekejike. Le Uzo Ekejike. Uzo Ekejike. Uzo Ekejike. Uzo Ekejike. Uzo Ekejike. Abum Awele Ekejike. Abum Shange Kejike. Abum Shange Kejike. Abum Shange Kejike. Abumamadi ka. Abumado kaneba ka. Abumado kanka ka. Abumado